It was raining when they saw it. At first, they thought it was a man crouching against the wall. Then it raised its head. Its skin looked dark and oily in the rain. Its eyes were red, not glowing like lights, wet, reflective, alive. It did not stand, it only watched them. One of the girls screamed, and all three ran. According to their account, this happened in Varginha, Brazil, on January 20th, 1996. Within hours, the story would expand beyond 3 terrified witnesses. It would include soldiers, hospitals, a dead officer, and the claim that something inhuman had been captured alive. Today, the event is often called Brazil's Roswell, but that name hides a problem. The incident is not one claim. It is a stack of claims made by different people at different times with very different levels of support. At the center are 3 young women who said they saw a crouching being in a vacant lot. Around that encounter grew reports of unusual vehicles, military movement, hospital activity, and a secret retrieval. Some parts of that story come from identifiable witnesses. Others survive mainly through repetition. To understand what may have happened, we have to reconstruct the timeline and then separate experience from evidence. On the afternoon of January 20th, 3 young women were walking through the Chardemandere neighborhood. Rain had left the streets and vacant ground wet. Near a wall, they noticed a figure crouched close to the ground. Its posture was the first thing that felt wrong. They described brownish, oily skin, a large head, red eyes. Some retellings also described 3 raised areas on the head. That detail appears inconsistently and should be treated with caution. What remained consistent was the witnesses' fear. They did not describe a visitor standing proudly in the open. They described something low, exposed, and deeply unsettling, something they believed was not human. Their reaction matters. It shows that the encounter was emotionally real to them, but sincerity can establish belief, not the identity of what was seen. The leading ordinary explanation is misidentification. A person crouching in rain, seen unexpectedly against a dirty wall, can appear radically different from what the mind expects. Stress narrows attention. Memory preserves the shock, but not always every visual measurement. This explanation does not require the witnesses to lie. It requires only a brief and frightening mistake. The witnesses, however, rejected the idea that they had seen an ordinary man. That leaves the first major contradiction, a plausible mechanism for error, and witnesses certain that it does not fit. If the story had ended at the vacant lot, Varginha might have remained a local mystery. It did not end there. Residents later described unusual movement by official or military vehicles around the city. Some accounts claimed that a being had been captured and placed inside a vehicle. Others connected the activity to hospitals or military facilities. Publicly available hard evidence has not confirmed an extraterrestrial transport. A truck in a frightened city is still a truck. A uniform is still a uniform. Neither reveals what was being moved. But secrecy changes how ordinary things are perceived. Once people suspect concealment, every unexplained movement becomes evidence in their minds. And then one death gave the story a human cost. A young military police officer, Marco Eli Chereze, died weeks after the reported events. His death later became inseparable from the legend. Believers alleged that he had physically handled a captured creature and was exposed to something dangerous. The timing is disturbing. Timing, however, is not causation. Illness and death require medical evidence before they can be attributed to an extraordinary exposure. The public record has not established that link. This does not make the death unimportant. It makes accuracy more important, because a real person should not become a sound effect in someone else's mystery. The case now had witnesses, rumors of capture, official movement, and a death. What it still lacked was a piece of evidence that could be independently tested. Meanwhile, the story moved through Varginha faster than any formal investigation could stabilize it. Someone saw a vehicle, someone heard about a hospital, someone knew a person who claimed to know what had been moved. With every retelling, uncertain details became cleaner. Possibilities became declarations, rumors acquired witnesses. This pattern does not prove that the original encounter was false. It explains why later editions deserve a different level of confidence. Local fear is not physical proof, but it is evidence that the community experienced the event as something larger than one strange sighting. For a city, that kind of memory can become permanent. The creature stops belonging only to the witnesses and begins belonging to everyone. The Varginha being did not enter the story like a polished science fiction visitor. It appeared vulnerable. It was low to the ground, dirty, wet, possibly injured or exhausted. That imperfection makes the image psychologically powerful. It resembles an animal in distress more than an invader in control. And because the description is simple, it is easy to remember: brown skin, a large head, and red eyes in the rain. Over time, illustrations standardized details that may never have been consistent in the original accounts. The image became clearer. The evidence did not. The creature encounter was eventually connected to reports of an unidentified object in the region. Some versions describe a damaged craft, others imply a crash or military retrieval. These additions transform a creature sighting into a complete extraterrestrial narrative. They also multiply the evidence the story should be able to produce. A crash should leave debris. A biological capture should leave samples. An official retrieval should leave records or multiple verifiable trails. No publicly accepted object, body, or biological sample has settled the Varginha case. That absence does not logically prove nothing happened. It does limit what can honestly be concluded. So what evidence actually survives? First, direct witness testimony. The three women consistently reported a frightening encounter with a crouched, unfamiliar being. That is the strongest core of the case. Second, the reaction of the community. The story spread widely and became embedded in local memory. Third, reports of official activity. These may document unusual movement, but they do not by themselves reveal its purpose. Fourth, claims of capture, contamination, and extraterrestrial recovery. These are the most dramatic and the least independently secured. Finally, physical evidence. No publicly verified body, sample, or artifact is available for independent examination. The case, therefore, remains strongest as testimony and weakest exactly where its largest claims begin. 4 broad explanations can organize the case. None explains every reported detail without difficulty. 1. A genuine non-human encounter. The witnesses saw an unknown being, and at least some later official activity was connected to its recovery. 2. Misidentification. An unusual person or ordinary figure was perceived as inhuman during a brief, stressful encounter. 3. A mixed case. Something genuinely unsettling was seen, while rumor, media, and memory attached military and extraterrestrial elements afterward. 4. Legend formation in real time. An ordinary or misunderstood event grew through social contagion until the expanded story felt more certain than its sources. The first explanation accommodates the witnesses. The second accommodates ordinary perception. The third and fourth accommodate the contradictions. None produces the missing evidence. Strip away the later claims, and one image remains. 3 young women in the rain, looking toward a wall. They did not know about the decades of documentaries that would follow. They saw only the figure in front of them. Perhaps fear transformed a human silhouette. Perhaps memory hardened an uncertain moment into a permanent form. Or perhaps something genuinely unknown crouched there, sick and exposed, for only a few seconds. We cannot replay the encounter. We can only measure what survived it. A sincere account, a city's memory, layers of disputed claims, and no single object capable of ending the argument. Varginha is compelling because it combines an intimate encounter with a conspiracy large enough to absorb every uncertainty. The intimate encounter is difficult to dismiss emotionally. The conspiracy is difficult to establish evidentially. That distinction is not an insult to the witnesses. It is the line between respecting an experience and overstating what it proves. Maybe the figure was a person in terrible circumstances. Maybe it was an unknown animal, a distorted memory, or something stranger. The honest conclusion is narrower than the legend. Something frightened 3 witnesses. What frightened them has never been publicly demonstrated. So what was crouching against that wall in Varginha? A misidentified human or a being no one was meant to see? Tell us which explanation fits the evidence best and why. This is Threshold Obscura.